CMF by Nothing has been quietly building one of the most interesting budget audio lineups out there. You got the OG CMF buds, the CMF Buds Pro, CMF Buds Pro 2. I got those. Go check that video out. You got the CMF Buds 2 and the CMF Buds 2 Plus. Now, all of these are under $100 and they're all aimed directly at people who don't like spending a lot of money on earbuds. And while each one brought something different to the table, they all follow the same similar CMF formula. You have the same design language, you have the same features, similar strengths, and you also have similar limitations. That's why today, instead of repeating what I've already covered, I want to focus on the one model that actually shakes things up, and that is the CMF Buds 2A. Now, typically when you hear budget, you expect compromise, mid-tier ANC, average sound, or an app that feels like an afterthought. But the 2A don't play by those rules. Now, these earbuds launched at $29 on Amazon. That's already a strong value. Then Amazon stepped in for Black Friday and they slashed the price down to a mere $19, which puts them in a category where most earbuds barely even try to compete. So the question today is simple. Are the 2A this good for the price, or are the 2A redefining what budget ANC earbuds should be? And also later on in this video, I'm going to compare the Buds 2A against another pair in the same sub $30 bracket. It's a model that matches the 2A almost spec for spec on paper, just to see how far your money actually goes. So if you're wondering whether these are the best ANC earbuds under $20 right now, this video will give you the full picture. And now that brings us into the breakdown. The CMF Buds 2A deliver a surprising amount of value for just $19 to $29. You get features that normally sit above that price, like Dirac-tuning, that's pronounced D-Rack. It gives the Buds 2A their balanced natural sound, 42 dB ANC, multi-point, customizable touch controls, and a design that feels more polished than budget earbuds should. Also, battery life that reaches up to 35.5 hours total with the case, and the IP54 water resistance rating that makes them great for workouts or accidental rain. They're not trying to replace the Nothing Ear A or the Nothing Ear 2024. Instead, they're giving price-conscious buyers a legitimately good listening experience. Now, after testing them across multiple music genres, let me show you what I found. So now you know what the Buds 2A bring to the table. Let's break down how they actually perform in day-to-day use, starting with the battery life. So for earbuds in the sub $30 category, let alone $19 during Black Friday, the battery life on the CMF Buds 2A is surprisingly reliable. With ANC off, you're going to get 8 hours on a single charge. With ANC on, you're going to get around 5.5 hours on a single charge. So the total battery life, including the case, is going to be 35.5 hours. Just go ahead and just round it up to this 36. The fast charge, you put the earbuds back into the case for 10 minutes. That's going to give you 5.5 hours of playback. Now, in real use, I consistently hit around 5 hours with a mix of ANC and transparency, which lines up with CMF's claims. There's no wireless charging, but the USB-C keeps things simple. For $19, this battery performance is excellent. Of course, battery life is great, but it doesn't mean much without some strong noise control. So let's talk about how the ANC and the transparency hold up. Now, the Buds 2A offers up to 42 dB canceling out ambient noise of ANC, and for the price, that's seriously good. So low frequency hums from fans, AC units, and buses, they drop noticeably down. You'll still hear voices and sharp sounds, and that's normal at this tier, but the overall reduction is really impressive, especially for $19. And switching modes is instant with a tap and a hold through the Nothing X app. Moving on to transparency, it's also clear enough for conversations and outdoor walks or hearing announcements. You don't get that weird like budget hiss or static, with most earbuds in this $30 range. Natural sounding voices, and you get reliable awareness. And that's better than most earbuds. So even though there's no official adaptive ANC, the Buds 2A suitably lower sudden noise spikes while you're in transparency mode. It's not dramatic, but it does help smooth out louder background noise. So for the price, the noise control here is far better than expected. It's clean, it's usable, and it's practical for daily listening. And noise control is only half of the story, because where these really separates themselves from other budget earbuds is going to be inside of the Nothing X app. So here I got my Nothing Phone 3A. And as you can see here, this is what you're going to be greeted with. And this is one of the Bud 2A's biggest advantages over other sub $30 earbuds, is how well they integrate inside of the Nothing X app. You get real tuning flexibility and meaningful control options, not the shallow bass treble boost sliders you see in most earbuds. You get a full EQ system with 6 custom presets. Let me show you those, each shaping the sound noticeably. So if you scroll down in equalizer and you click on here, you get Dirac. That's on by default. Now this makes the sound balanced and natural. So this is good for like general listening across multiple music genres. And then you have pop. What pop does is it makes the vocals brighter and sharper treble for more clarity. Next, you have rock. And what that does is it lifts the upper mids for more bite and snap when you're hearing guitars and drums. Next, you have electronic. That gives you a stronger sub bass or more weight and rumble. And then you have an enhanced vocals. That just gives you a more clearer and forward mid range that brings the vocals to the front. And then lastly, you have classical. That just makes your music neutral and airy and open. So this is great for instrument separation. And underneath all of these, you get a custom preset. Now this lets you set the EQ exactly how you like. Now for a pair of $19 earbuds, having a true custom EQ control is a huge win. And for me, enhanced vocals, this one right here, this preset, this is my favorite. It brings out the best balance of clarity, warmth, and detail from the 12.4 millimeter driver inside the Buds 2A. Now, these presets, they're not gimmicks. They genuinely reshape the sound and let you tune the 2A to match whatever you're listening to. So what you saw earlier with the custom EQ, where the bass is -3, the mids are +4, and the treble is +3, is how I personally tune mine, but you can tweak it however you like. So here's some suggested custom EQs if you want to shape the Buds 2A even further. I'm just going to give you a couple of beginner-friendly recommendations. So for the bass, this will be for like hip hop and electronic music. You set the bass to 1 or 3. You set the mids to 2, or a treble can be at 0 or 1. If you want clearer vocals for podcast or acoustic music, you set the bass to -2. You set the mids to the +4, and or +5, and you set the treble to +2. Now, if you want a balanced sound, then this would be like, all purpose. You can set the bass to like -1. You can set the mids to +3. Let's see, +3. And then you can set the treble at 1. Would be +1. Now, if you want maximum detail for jazz music or live music, you can set the bass at -3. Oh, let me go -3. And then the mids will be at +4. And then the treble, you can set that at either +3, or you can set it at +4. Now, if you want more brighter, if you listen to pop music and you want it to be more brighter for like modern pop or female vocals, set the bass at -2, and then hold up, -2, and then the mids +3, and then treble, you can set that at either +3 or +5. So the simple EQ, it's extremely easy to use. You just drag the points and you can hear the change instantly. So you don't need any type of technical knowledge on the parametric EQ, because the CMF buds, they don't have access to that, but you can still customize these however you want. So going back out, you have the control customizations. So you can customize the controls. You can remap them with a double tap, a triple tap, a tap and hold, a double tap and hold. So this is a full control layout at $19. Even at $30, that's still good. And you can do this for either the left earbud or the right one. And you also can set up Chat GPT. Let me see, which one is it? There it go. So you click on Voice AI. There you go. You got Chat GPT, or you can have your default assistant, which is SIRI assistant. I'm just gonna, what did I have just said before? Noise control? I didn't forget. Oh, also, you can do transparency mode. You can either have it just go cycle between transparency and ANC, or you can have it go to off. I always have it off because you may not think it's taking up a whole bunch of battery, but those microphones are doing working extra time, and it's going to kill your battery. So just go ahead and turn that off if you don't need it. Also, you have dual device connection, which is another fancy way of saying multi-point, and I got it turned off. Uh, let's see, I got it turned off. I'm gonna turn it on. Right now, currently, they're connected to my Nothing Phone 3A. Now, if I want, I can connect these to my 17 Pro, or I can connect these to my Pixel 9. So this is fast switching between devices. You also have another one. This is firmware updates, and this I think is inside of the app. Well, no, usually if you have an update, it'll show it like right underneath the earbuds, the battery readout. It'll let you know you have an update. And this is the real advantage. The app just isn't an extra feature. It actually elevates the Buds 2A above a lot of budget earbuds at this price range. But an app only can take you so far. So what matters most is how these actually sound. So let's go ahead and get into the real listening experience. So the Buds 2A, by default, they deliver a warm, balanced, controlled sound signature that adapts well across genres. So using the music from my playlist, here's how they perform. When it comes to the bass, Legend Has It by Run the Jewels. The bass sounds punchy, it's tight, and it's clean sub bass extension. There's no bloat, there's no muddy spillover. It's just well controlled low end that hits when it needs to. Moving on to the mids, is the vocal tone or the presence. uh, Doubt by Charlotte Day Wilson. Her vocals sound very intimate and full and smooth. The Buds 2A, they avoid harsh upper mids and keep instrumentation warm and organic. They're a great showcase of how well these handle soulful mid-range focused music. Treble, you getting clarity without any harshness. So What by Miles Davis. The cymbals and trumpets remain clean without turning sharp. The treble tuning is safe and enjoyable, so that's good to remember. The treble, it does have detail, but it's rolled off so it doesn't become sharp or harsh. So it's bright enough for detail, but it's soft enough for long listening. The soundstage and the imaging, Sultans of Swing live, good stage placement is actually really good. So guitars, they kind of lean left. The vocals stay centered. The drums sit naturally behind, so you're getting clear spatial cues that never collapse when listening to that song. Music is actually it's really good. I enjoyed the music on here. Also, let me go back into the app because this has the 2A. They actually have something called Ultra Bass. They was called Bass Enhancement. Leave that at one, or just don't use it at all. The buds already have enough bass as it is. You don't need to add more bass. More bass doesn't equal better sound. Leave that at one. I wouldn't go above. If you want more bass, I wouldn't go above level 2. That's just my own preference. I'm just letting you know. So now that we talked about the music, everyday earbuds, they need to handle some phone calls. So here's how the microphones perform in real world situations. This is a mic test of the CMF Buds 2A in a quiet room. This is recorded as is, no processing, straight from the Black Camera app. You should be able to hear how the Buds 2A capture your voice tone, how natural it sounds, and whether it leans warm, bright, or slightly compressed. So now let's switch environments. And this is a CMF Buds 2A with simulated crowd noise in the background. Again, this audio is completely unedited. What you're hearing is how the earbuds try to separate your voice from the environment using their mic array and the noise reduction. Now, the Buds 2A tend to keep the voice stable in clear and quieter settings, and while you hear more compression in noisy environments, they still maintain a good intelligibility for this price. Haven't really tested out the wind, so I can't really tell you if that's solid or not, but this is far better than sub $30 earbuds. So for everyday calling, indoors, outdoors, or quick FaceTimes, they hold up surprisingly well. So now that we've covered the full user experience, the big question remains, how do they stack up against other earbuds in the same price range? So before we wrap things up, let's talk about the most intriguing rival to the CMF Buds 2A. And no, the rival isn't from Soundcore, it isn't from Soundpeats, it isn't from JBL, QCY, or Earfun. Because earlier in the video, I mentioned there's another pair of earbuds in this same sub $30 price bracket that matches the CMF Buds 2A almost spec for spec on paper. And this is where the mystery gets answered. The closest true competitor to the Buds 2A is the Baseus Bass BP1 Pro. Goofy name, but stay with me here. Stay with me because you're going to want to hear this. Now, each of these earbuds pack a surprising amount of value for the money. So why they compete? Well, both of them offer ANC in a budget category. Both have long battery life, although the Baseus, the battery life total is more. Both are marketed towards value first buyers, and both promise performance far above their price. But they go about things differently. So what pushes the Baseus higher is they lean into the spec sheet approach. So you're getting big battery numbers, you're getting powerful ANC claims. I think, what does it say here? Oh, negative 50 dB. So this is adaptive hybrid ANC. So of course, this should be on par with the Buds 2A. Also, the 55 hours total battery life. You're getting 6 microphones, so that's 3 microphones on each, same as the Buds 2A. And you're also getting IP55 that is dust and water resistant. So that's actually pretty good. So where the CMF focuses instead is they're working on refinement. So you got the Dirac tuning, you got the polished app experience. I just showed you that. You got the consistent connectivity, you got more natural mic processing, you have a balanced and coherent sound signature, you're getting better long-term reliability through firmware updates. I don't expect the Baseus to get more than maybe one update once you pair them to your phone. Now, both of these are compelling at the price that they are, and both of them offer real value, but the difference comes down to priorities. You getting specs or you want polish. So if you want something that is extremely competitive on paper, the Baseus BP1 Pro is probably a strong challenger. If you want something that feels consistent day to day with software support behind it, then the Buds 2A take the lead. And I do like the sound on both, but I got to go with the Buds 2A. So the real takeaway from all of this is this. Both earbuds are incredibly competitive for under $30, but they serve different types of listeners. The CMF is the safe, polished, reliable choice, and the Baseus is the spec-heavy, bass-forward wild card. So if you want a better listening experience, CMF Buds wins. If you want maximum features per dollar, the Baseus pushes harder on paper. Also, these are kind of like bass heavy when it comes to the sound, so they can't leave that out. So once you see how they compare, it becomes a lot easier to understand why I would pick the Buds 2A to truly stand out in the budget category. So let's bring it back to the question that I started at the beginning of this review. So if the CMF Buds 2A were already a strong value at $29. What happens when they drop to this 19 during Black Friday? So after testing everything, the sound, the ANC, the transparency, the controls, the app experience, the mic quality, the battery life, and now the competition, the answer is simple. At $19, the CMF Buds 2A aren't just good for the price. They set a new standard for what entry-level earbuds can deliver. And even after Black Friday is over and done with, I'm still going to say that. Yes, the Baseus Bass BP1 Pro, they put up a good fight with some big features and some bold claims. It's one of the few options in this price range that generally challenges the Buds 2A. But once you step past the spec sheet and actually use both earbuds in real life, and I have been testing these out, been doing a little A/B testing, the Buds 2A refinement, tuning, and consistency make them incredibly easy to recommend. So if you're shopping during Black Friday, the CMF Buds 2A are one of the best budget ANC earbuds you can buy. So with that said, that's the end of the video. If this video helped you out in any way, consider sharing, comment, and liking. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your sound. I'll see you in the next one.